Flat Earth Debate, Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Also below this video, you can get £50 for swapping your UK electricity supplier to Octopus Energy. Speaking of patrons, I'm going to do a quick shout out to all of you who do support me on Patreon. So, a massive shout out of thanks and appreciation to Michael Kahn, Patrick Gunnels, Banter, Will Brax, Mel B. Styles, Troy Shuker, Bosnail, Joseph Pizarro, Sampson, Maris, Mobile Max 777, Neo the One, Lost Cat FE, Rob W, Open Minded, Reese Pound, Del West Watson, Mike, Muted, Dick Earth Skeptic, Maria Neeland, Unbelievable Productions, Blue Ridge Ranger, Rob H, The Real Gabster, Windrider, Liam Nedrick Jr., Abraham Mohammed, Naibai, Adrian Quintana, Skeptic936, Life is Short, Fireball X, TheFlatEarthChannel.com, Texas Mike, Edwin Johnson, and David Wayne Foster. So another massive thank you to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. I'm also going to do a heartfelt shout out to JQ. Now, just by coincidence, I tuned in at a particular moment in the premiering stream for Nathan Oakley channel, which is my second channel, for yesterday's Uncut and After Show. And there was a couple of strange things going on. One was a £100 super chat that I got from JQ, which in and of itself is fantastic. Thank you very much indeed for the super chat, JQ. But also a couple of other weird things. The show kept on jumping up by about 100 subscribers. Not subscribers, watchers. So it started off at maybe 111 and then it would jump to like 220 and then drop back down to 111. It was really bizarre, the most weird glitch I've ever seen ever. And I asked several people in the chat and after the fact if they'd seen anything similar, and so far nobody's seen anything similar. So it's the weirdest thing I've ever seen on YouTube, let alone on my own channel. So that was bizarre. Anywho, so I'll get to my story about a weird coincidence with JQ and his very high level of generosity. So yesterday my wife and I found out that our second car, or my wife's car, which she's had for about 15 years, she bought it with an inheritance that she got when her father died. Terrible investment that it was. Nevertheless, this car is very sentimental to my wife, and she sent it in for what she thought was a cheap process and MOT here in the UK, just a certificate to say it's roadworthy, and it wasn't by a long stretch. And the amount that was actually required to fix it was coincidentally almost identical to a massive sum of money that JQ had sent me via PayPal for seemingly no reason. So it seemed like he was chatting with a troll in the Nathan Oakley premiering stream, and for some reason the guy was goading him about money, and then he sent me a huge substantial amount of money, and it, like I say, coincided with the exact amount to fix this car. Now, prior to receiving this amount, I'd actually had the conversation with my wife about, heartbreaking though it is, we can't afford to put this back on the road. We're going to have to sawn it, which is in the UK jargon of road car legal speak, the words you use to say you're going to retire it, you're going to put it off the road and it can't be driven anymore. So that's what we'd come to the conclusion we had to do, and that's precisely what we were going to do. It had been given a last clean and it was going to be locked up in the garage to die. And as a direct result, this very sentimental piece of metal to my wife, it's very sentimental, can be kept as a useful thing, and I'm absolutely elated for it, as I'm sure it is my wife. So we can actually manage to put her car, which is certainly something that I can't justify asking for help with, on a GoFundMe campaign. Keeping me here in a car, definitely yes, because that's directly related to the show and the channel. Anyway, I'm going to pass over to whoever is in the Discord and G Plus panel so you can enjoy their dulcet tones while I set up for today's live show. But I just did want to give an extra shout out to JQ. Thank you very much indeed for your support. It really is what seems like divine intervention. So thank you very much indeed.
Crazy, because yesterday at the end of the day, it got really chilly by me. I was constructing this, like the pitchback things they got in baseball for the kids to throw it and it comes back to them.
Yeah.
So I was constructing one of them with two ends. I'm outside with my wife. And I said, I hope your brother doesn't come out because he's going to confuse the crap out of me. So I'm trying to get this thing constructed. Sure enough, he comes out right away, grabbing things. I said, what did I tell you he was going to do? He's going to come out and confuse. No, I know what I'm doing. I'm like, please, just sit down. And I know how to do these. I said, I do too. You read the directions. We got it up and running. I actually did need his help after a few minutes because then you got to stand it up and connect the two ends. So.
Yeah, sometimes extra hand is needed.
Exactly, hand, not mine.
That's right. Let go of the steering wheel. It's like the navigator in the car. Okay, make a right, and then he grabs your wheel.
Yeah. You got to get it right, and then I'm telling you, he's trying to put the screws on because you got to get them all lined up first. That is the reason why they're telling you not to tighten anything up yet. But I know why, because you tighten one side up, the other one might not fit.
Correct.
Like, yeah, but you got to put the screws in. I said, yeah, when I get to the part where it says to put them in, then we'll put them in. So we had to do one more thing, then the screws. Yeah, I told you to put the screws. Oh, God. Yeah, okay. I know, eventually I could have said the same thing. What a prediction.
Crazy.
Crazy. It's going to go on until Sunday. That's what's crazy about it.
What happens after Sunday?
Well, hopefully the car is fixed and he leaves my home.
Well, where's he going to go if the car is fixed?
It goes back to his house.
Why can't he go to his house now?
Oh, we live upstate. It's 2 hours away. His car is, like I said, he was on his way here and he broke down an hour and a half out of the city and an hour away from me. So
How much does it cost to put him on the train?
that's not the issue.
That's the answer.
That's the answer. But unfortunately, when his family involved,
Oh gosh.
I haven't talked to my wife yet about what we talked about, but it's
Yeah, keep
gonna
it for
happen
another
later
time.
on. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
gonna happen tonight.
It
So,
needs to happen.
what proof we got?
We got a lot of
For
love.
what?
Got a lot of love for 10th Man and Stacey in the comments of the video yesterday, all agreeing with you and saying I'm wrong. My ad.
Good.
Well, I didn't take that attitude. I was just speaking my mind.
No, I'm sure.
What's wrong with you?
I didn't go to the extent of explaining that despite a heated disagreement in debate and discussion on the show, that doesn't mean there's any love lost whatsoever. Well, at least I hope there isn't. I doubt there is.
Are you kidding? Who's the first two on the show?
Yeah, well, that speaks volumes, exactly. But yeah,
Exactly.
Grace, disagree with me. When Anthony put your position back to me on a phone call after the fact yesterday evening, quite late, by the end of the conversation, I was like, I agree with 10th Man. Bearing in mind you were disagreeing with me. So it's like, so you disagree with your own position. Well, I pretty much said that to him, actually, but you know what I'm getting at.
That's a one. I'm gonna hold you to that one. That's classic. Yeah, it's all in good. Listen, the best. I thought it was one of the best shows afterwards because I said, look, we get called echo chamber all the time. We are individuals on this show with different tastes in food and different likes and things and here we come across this topic and everyone held their ground and I said, this is great. I'm with a bunch of alphas here. I love alphas.
One of the commenters summed it up by basically pointing out that when you're in an arena that's dealing with the truth and potentially sacrificing a certain amount to put that out there, then when somebody who's in the same arena and is supposed to be also putting out truth is putting out something, whatever it is, whatever that may be, that's completely unverified, then it seems that much worse and therefore gets your attention that much more and makes you think that you've got to do that much more about it. My reply being, I totally agree. These bloody ghost hunters with their supernatural ghosties, we need to chase them down with pitchforks. In other words, I put the same position I put on the show in the contrast.
Validation.
Yeah, those ghost hunting people in the spooky houses, they need to
Don't
validate.
start.
What's the difference? What's the difference? Just because that's not what's happening doesn't mean it's not the perfect
Wait. Here was the
compare and
whole thing.
contrast.
It has nothing to do with the earth I stand upon.
And
I said it has nothing to do with the earth I stand upon.
yeah, that's okay. Yeah, and then you challenge it. All right.
Yeah, it does. The supernatural is something that has a causal relationship in the world we experience.
Supernatural, not ghosts.
Exactly, Neil. Exactly. You go and tell them that. Why aren't you beating down their door?
Ghosts don't need doors.
I'm being serious, Neil. Why aren't you beating down the door of the people who deal with ghosts? It is directly related.
I deal with people that claim that there's an ether and there's a dielectric acceleration, and that's it. All I said was you need to be a little more serious when we're dealing with it. The same way you're serious about geometric horizons, about gas pressure out of container. Just don't flip it away like, it's a little corner of the arena. It ain't going to affect us. It eventually will affect us.
Appeal to the future fallacy.
Yo,
Hey, Elijah.
hey guys, I might not, be worried about ghosts, but these vampires are annoying. They knock on my door at 12 a.m. I gotta invite them in for some coffee, hold the garlic. You know what I mean? And they're very long-winded. Believe me, they have stories.
I love it. Do you have a sound? Do you have a sound bite from this vampire?
Yeah, Eddie Murphy, the vampire in Brooklyn.
Oh man, I gotta rewatch that movie. I remember it as a good movie, but I fear that it is very terrible.
What was the other one? The one where the guy he gets drunk, he drinks a wino's blood, and he gets drunk, and he's flying around like a bat, and he flies into a home in Brooklyn, and the lady's like, "How are we gonna eat tonight? We got no food." And then he goes flying in the house, and he goes, "We do now. It's a chicken. It's a black chicken." And they try to catch the bat.
I don't know what that one is.
Oh,
That
it was a
sounds
funny
funny.
one. It was a comedy, I think it was Love at First Bite. Something like that. It was one of them. Real funny.
I felt that way after I bit a beautifully medium rare tri-tip yesterday. Love at first bite. It was delicious. Like it came with its own steak. It came with its own steak, Elijah.
Oh gosh.
Garlic too.
I just wanted to say, Neil, that these electro people, electro dudes, I mean, I don't see a coherent anything.
Are you?
I asked them like, what are you trying to say about the Earth itself? And all they can tell me, well, the ground is the ground and the sky is the positive, and there you have it. And I'm like,
yeah, because they want space. They want their space too.
yeah,
They can't give up outer space.
Adam.
Afternoon, guys.
Hello.
Hey, Adam.
What's up, Adam? The point is, it doesn't. I mean, who cares?
Elijah, I got a question. Are you bringing a charge against these electric dudes?
I wouldn't stake my reputation on it.
I mean, they're not. I mean, they're gonna be a problem if they're gonna be a problem. We already do what we can.
Oh, what a name! What a lovely name!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Also, below this video, you can get £50 for swapping your UK electricity supplier to Octopus Energy. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcomed back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. One last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now, before I introduce all of our guests, I'm going to say a quick heartfelt shout out to JQ. Thank you very much indeed. I did an extended shout out to you at the beginning of the pre-show, so I'm not going to do another one, but just so you're aware of that, I'm going to say a big thank you to JQ for all the support he gave me yesterday in my second channel, which is called Nathan Oakley. Subscribe today if you're not already. But during the premiere of the most recent brand new Uncut and after show, he was in there not only supporting me with a massive super chat of $100, but also contributed a substantial amount of money, which coincidentally was exactly the amount required and we didn't have to fix my wife's car, which is very sentimental to her. So I am absolutely elated with the support I recently got from JQ. Thank you very much indeed to you. We are joined by Eli, 10th Man, Neil, the Adam Meakin, Sleeping Warrior, and a whole bunch of people in Discord. So welcome one and all.
Hey, good morning.
Yeah, that guy was ace because that MD guy in chat kept talking about you asking for money. So I was glad that JQ kept answering with that.
It's not like I ever e-beg. Be sure to smash the super chat, by the way. I mean, what an outrage.
It's not the point. What I said was, this is Nathan's living. If you don't like it, don't send him money.
Is that what
And the
sparked
thing
it?
you've got to
Sparked
remember,
it off then?
the thing you've got to remember is there's not many people on our side that actually provide a service. You can't go to Globebusters, for example, and want to join the panel and talk about stuff with them because it's a closed circuit. You can't go to Delph and Beyond the Imaginary Curve. Again, it's a closed circuit. Actually, no, he does give a public link, I think. The point is he provides a service, right? And we can join, and it's somewhere that we can commune, that we can have a cup of coffee and sit down and just chat. And that is valuable. And if you don't support it, it does tend to go. You might have to get a job at the end of the day. So I support it. It's worth it.
That being said, I just want to say hello to all of the new people listening. That's like Sleeping Warrior said. There's a link to join. Come speak with us. If you have any questions about the nature of Earth, here's the place to be. Thank you.
Where everybody knows your name.
And as yesterday's show showed, it's not an echo chamber because even on our side, we don't always agree with everything. So there's definitely no siding on this show. Not like all the shows, though.
I'd agree with that.
I don't know if I'd agree with that. Certain things are off the table. I think it would,
Oh, come on, it's not an
possibly
echo
a huge
chamber.
number.
Don't be ridiculous.
That was a good look yesterday. It was a good.
Well, it was a
I
good
thought-
script that Dave sent us. It was a very good script that the boss sent us.
I had a deal.
Good
with
damn
my
script.
boxing gloves on, I'm telling you.
I love it.
Yeah, thanks for the mute, guys.
Say again. Was that sounded like
Hey,
Tommy?
Hey, Tommy.
Yeah, it's me. It's me, Nathan. Yeah, it's Tommy Hench.
Hello,
I'm
Tommy.
just listening in. How you doing, man?
Very well. If you're into
Keep-
boxing, hold on.
Man,
just one
what you
sec,
do,
just
the
one sec.
work.
Before we even get there, let's shout you out properly. If you're a boxing fan, go and subscribe to Tommy Hench. Is that the name of your channel? Tommy Hench?
Yeah.
Go and
Yeah.
subscribe. Does commentary,
Do you like
gives his
boxing?
opinions? Anyway, go ahead, Tommy. Sorry, I just wanted to shout you out a little bit. Go
Oh
ahead.
yeah, if you like, but yeah, thanks for that. Appreciate that, Nathan. All the work that you're doing relentlessly every single day is unmatched by anybody. Honestly, like kudos to you. And I know you get a lot of stick, but these people can't answer straight questions, and they're totally intellectually dishonest. It's good to hear you're doing what you're doing so consistently for so long. You know what I mean? You're a champion. You are a champion.
Oh, well, I appreciate it
Um,
greatly, especially coming
no
from
worries,
someone
man.
who's a
Keep up the
former
good work.
opponent, which is weird. But there we go.
I know, man. I know, but
So
at the end of
let's
the day, I
plug.
didn't.
Let's
I didn't
plug
know
this.
my own math, did I? I didn't know what the R value was. I didn't know how it's obtained. I didn't know anything about it. But as a Glober, you're automatically right, aren't you? So all I thought was, I'm right, you're wrong, because I know the Earth's a globe, because I've been told it since I was a kid, not because I proved it to myself. So you put me in my place, I'm humble enough to if somebody's got a good point and they defeat me, which I was defeated, I honestly was defeated in that battle. So if I ever come up with an argument, if I ever get proof for a globe, I'll bring it to you and I'll try and argue it. But I haven't got any, so.
Tommy, you know what number show it was that you joined. Can you remind us what number show it was where you joined as a ball earther so that people listening can go back and watch it?
I think I sent you the link at some point. Probably sent you at some point on a message, but that was probably on the old account. I'll look for it. It's probably around. I know it'd been doing it for a while by then. Probably around about 1,000 odd, 2,000, maybe
Hold on.
1,500.
If you want to find it, it was titled because it was such a good show. So if they're really good shows, I'd give them a specific title. That was called Tommy Was, past tense, a globehead. So Tommy was a globehead. So if you typed in flat Earth debate, Tommy was a globehead, you'll find that show. But even then, I predicted you would convert because I was saying that in the conversation you were making concessions that suggested to me that you'd turn around in that. So I phrased it, even though at the time you were still a globehead and hadn't in any way said I'm going to turn into a flat earther. I phrased that show. Tommy was a globehead.
I remember that show because I remember thinking I quite like that guy, even though he's a bit of an idiot. I quite like his approach because it was very aggressive but non-personal. So it was like kind of like Rumpus-esque, but without the over talking. I thought it was a brilliant show.
You trying to save me? You trying to save me from Nathan? Nathan was going at me, ripping holes in me, and you were like, "No, let's just give him the benefit of that, Nathan." And Nathan was like, "No."
Clearly a good boy.
Back in the days.
I was going to say that's
that
clearly
was back in the
a
days
good
when we
boy.
had good cop, bad cop.
Oh, you took the words out of my mouth. Yeah, say that again. I was trying to say the same thing as you, Anthony. Go ahead.
Yeah, it was just back in the
I'm
days when we had
thinking,
good cop, bad cop.
Yeah.
I was like, "Yeah, the maths are there though." You explained the maths to
YouTube,
me then. I was like, "I don't know what they are," and you were like, "Exactly." So why are you presenting this fucking evidence? You don't understand it, you stupid idiot. And I'm like, because you think it's all over guy. That's what. Fucking logical, like cognitive dissonance at its best, and that's why like when I'm listening to you now, ripping into these Globers, I know exactly the position in it. You hold them they hold their toes to the fire, and it sounds like you're being brutal, but it's because you're literally repeating back the argument to them. It's like you're telling them exactly what they're doing, and then you're responding to what you think they're thinking, and they still don't get it. You could literally give them the answers, and they still get it wrong. It's mad. It doesn't make sense to me. Like, I can admit that I'm wrong, or I can admit that I didn't know the R value, and I didn't know what I was arguing. And that's if you're going to be honest with yourself and just admit that you don't know or you can't prove it beyond reasonable doubt, then you just have to concede and just you can't prove the globe. You can't literally physically measure it. You can't prove the R value without assuming it. All the stuff that you're saying, that it's accurate. And it's all getting fallen on deaf ears, but it's the truth, though, isn't it? The truth is, how else can you measure this R value? How else can you see this horizon? There's a lot of double speak and there's a lot of shit that they're doing. These Globers.
Indeed.
Can I just point out as well that when Tommy changed sides and became from a baller to one of our side, there wasn't this celebratory party as though, oh my God, Tommy Hench has become a flat earther. I just want that to be put into context with somebody else that's recently defected.
Tony, I think a party is the wrong word. It's actually a ceremony.
Yeah, a ritual.
Yeah, that's because
it's initiation ritual.
I wonder who the human sacrifice
keep that
was.
behind the scenes. Come on, down.
It's common, that's
Yeah,
why.
actually,
Hold on.
human sacrifice was the man himself.
Hold on. Every single one of us, assuming there's nobody from some Far Eastern culture or something that's on the Discord server that I haven't addressed, but just that aside, we're all Western world people. Therefore, we've all grown up with the notion of a heliocentric world. Therefore, without exception, everybody who's here, who's on the flat Earth side of this discussion, has made that transition from globe to flat. So it's not exceptional. Now you can count on
Yeah,
one
that's
hand
true.
how many people have converted back to globe from flat, but they're just evening back
It's true.
out.
I know.
Hold on, Tommy. For the love of God. Jesus wept. Thank you. So it's just evening back up the numbers. So for every one of us that's transferred over to the flat side, right, that's the same move that Ranty, I assume you're detailing in this particular description, Anthony, has done. But it's not exceptional. But to move back is.
I just didn't want to mention the person's name because there was no need to.
Says you joined and immediately started talking about Bob.
Yeah, that's. Yeah, you don't talk about him for like 20 minutes straight, Tony.
Whoa, hang on. I didn't mention Bob. I said Globebusters doesn't have an open panel. That's not mentioning Bob.
Whose channel would that be? Gosh, whose channel would that be exactly? That would be Mr. Smith's channel, would it?
Right now.
I'm just saying you've been not talking about it for 20 minutes straight on air.
Indeed,
I
Alan.
get lost.
No,
I
I
never
think-
mentioned him at all.
I'm with you,
I'll just
Tony, in
say-
a court of law, mate.
I'll
You
just-
said Globebusters.
I'll just say Disney sucks, but I'm not talking about Walt. Walt. I didn't
Exactly.
say anything about him, but Disney is trash.
That's
Man
a
United
goofy-
suck. Doesn't mean I'm talking about Alex Ferguson, does it?
Elijah, that's a goofy argument. Give it up.
Liverpool, baby.
Yeah, this is being Weasley. That's what Anthony's being right now, Weasel.
No, that's reasons. You're just
Been
all
not
trying to
talking about it
demonize
for
me.
20 minutes. Right?
I'm gonna pull the victim card if you carry on.
Okay, I'll up it one notch and call you a slimy lawyer.
Right, that's it. I'm the victim.
Right, let's do a bit of housekeeping. We're like 12 minutes into the show. So, any evidence of a physical geometric sphere-edge horizon, formerly known as the curve of the Earth?
No,
It exists and persists in the math and in the
hang on.
assumptions. When you look at things in the sky, that there are also similar things as what we're standing on, and thus it must be a ball.
That's not evidence. We extra evidence.
Right, hang on. There is evidence, or there's a claim of evidence of a geometric horizon that was formerly known as. What was the question that you asked, Nathan?
Any evidence of a physical, Arwin, geometric sphere-edge
Yeah.
horizon?
There's a claim by someone who's claimed to have debunked Sandra's P900 or P1000 imagery from yesterday. You presented yesterday on whatever show number it was. Sandra from point A to point B, and it was showing the northern Wales coastline, and it was showing. Do you know, the name escapes me? What's the name of that rock? I can't
Great
think
Orme.
what it's called. Great
The
Orme.
moon?
That's it. Thank you. And someone's claimed that that's a perfect globe Earth proof.
You'll pop yourselves on me.
That's as far as I can
He's
go
going
at the
through
minute.
this.
Can I attempt to
No, could you wait
rebut
till he
the
gets to
physical
the end?
thing? It'll keep
he
it
tells
short.
you
It's a good one. Right? According to Einstein, so it's already kind of bullshit.
Arwin, please,
Please,
Arwin. He's in the middle of going through something, and you want to completely change the subject to Einstein when we're talking about Sandra's
No.
observation. Thank you.
To be honest, I was just giving opportunity for others to talk because I haven't done any prep on it. I've looked over what the claim is or the counterclaim is, and I looked at it and I just started laughing. But I know that Flatzoid's already dealt with it, and I know he's got a premiere sorted for tonight, but he's not in today. And I don't want to spoil the thunder, but let's just say that somebody's missed the point a little bit.
So, can I make my point then?
Yeah, go on, Arwin. You can speak.
Thank you, Nathan. Right. So Einstein argued that light is actually arrested matter, or the other way around, that matter is arrested light. So by that standard, even light that we see out there would technically still fall in the same category. And therefore, if we look at an edge of a light in the sky, then by Einstein standards, we could assume that that has to be physical in its core nature, and that's why it's a sphere edge proof.
When you say arrested light, do you mean light in handcuffs?
Light not moving,
Oh.
right? It was you know what I mean, right? He suggested this connection between matter and light, that light was or that matter was arrested light. like matter, if it moved super fast, it becomes light. If it slows down, it would be matter, right? He did utter this idea, right, guys?
I'm not sure.
I've not heard that, but he did preface it saying it was going to be bollocks because it was Einstein.
But yeah, so I just did the lawyer trick there.
That's what a lot of people still think.
So when you say the lawyer trick, do you mean lie?
Yeah.
It's not lying, it's being less candid than usual.
Right. Just
Oh,
like
you watched something.
just like you continually for 20 minutes straight didn't talk about a certain individual, right?
Yeah, I
You
did
watched
watch
that
that woman.
presentation by the Secret Service operative as well, Nathan, the blonde
Right,
woman, right?
she was very good, right? And my criticism is that she was dealing with what I maybe is kind of a more rudimentary understanding. It was a very generalized presentation, and you can only get that when you're trying to do something in 40 minutes with a crowd of people. So she had a job ahead of her, and everything she said I agreed with. However, if you like that, go and check out the behavior panel. They are doing what she does in real time. They even went on Dr. Phil and had somebody who was, under investigation and about to go to court, but they put him in front of this group of 4 people, these behavioural analysts, and they grilled him. It was absolutely glorious. Now, don't get me wrong, she gave an example too, where she showed an employee that she'd grilled about some fraud that was going on, and gave the examples of when she was being less than truthful. But getting an idea of the baseline of the person, none of that was discussed, and it's like the main focus of the behaviour panel. So from one angle, I thought it was very good. If you have never come across that subject, but by the same token, I'd just say, if you like that sort of thing, just go and watch the behavioural panel. I think they're called the behaviour panel. Do it in real time, or discuss stuff that's happened in the past, old criminal cases, things of that nature. I mean, for example, just so it's brought it back on topic, they analysed the UFO reaction from all the presidents to see whether or not they thought they were lying about it. There you go. That just sums it up beautifully, right? Right on topic. I could have taken sections of that particular discussion and stripped them right out and put them right in this show.
Apply that to Buzz Aldrin.
Go on.
So I was saying, have you done the moon landings, Nathan?
I'm trying to...
the panel when they come back and they look as depressed as hell after doing the most amazing thing for humanity.
That's been done. That's been commissioned already. So a behavioural analyst did do that exact thing at the request of Richard E. Hall. So Richard E. Hall literally asked somebody, pay them too. It wasn't like, can you do this as a favour? He paid him as a job to do it. And they analysed it in terms of the deception. And the deception level was deemed to be high. Some totally unbiased. It was very interesting. If you can find that online, Richard E. Hall. I think that's correct. Is it D or
Richard D. Hall?
D, my bad. Sorry, Richard D. Hall discusses the moon landing, and he analyses it with somebody who's paid as a behavioural analyst to go through that entire interview after the fact when they land, and they're like, look like somebody's just taken a dump in their cornflakes. They've just done what is considered to be the man's greatest achievement, and they all look really morose.
It's like winning the Premier League, innit, or the FA Cup at Wembley, right? And just going, oh yeah, I've won the FA Cup, and being so miserable about it. It's like, yeah, that's nonsense.
Well, they looked like they were being interrogated by their reaction rather than being interviewed about the greatest achievement ever. For instance, I don't remember seeing stars at all. That kind of answer is kind of, what you'd expect from asking somebody if they took the money out of the petty cash. You know what I mean? It was just like, it was like they were being interrogated almost, and they're looking at each other when they're asked awkward questions by the guy who used to do The Sky at Night. I've got his bloody name now.
Patrick Moore.
Bloody hell, it was on the tip of my tongue, Adam. Thank you.
Is it the Apollo conspiracy? The Apollo conspiracy film by Richard Hall.
That sounds about right.
Richard D. Hall.
Yeah, that's what I'm putting. Right, there's the link there. I've stuck it in the YouTube.
To be fair, I don't agree with a lot of things that he talks about, but one thing that he deals with that's really good is the Madeleine McCann topic. If you're interested in that, go and check out Richard D. Hall on Madeleine McCann. It's really good.
And if you want a complete contrast to his conspiratorial take on the Madeleine McCann case, the behavioural panel have also studied very similar, if not the same, footage that's been analysed by Richard D. Hall. And he's obviously put his opinion on it, as have the behavioural panel. And they had a very, very different take on what they thought was going on. Let's just put it that way. We're completely off track.
Oh, see, you can't say that now. I'm dying to know what was the contrast.
You'll have to go and check them out, won't you? Behavioural panel. Subscribe today. They make you feel very good as a subscriber as well. So they describe their subscribers as panelists, and they do actually. They'll say, "Here's a comment from." They don't name them, but they're like, "We got a comment from a commenter, a panelist." My bad. And they suggested we look at this. So here's this. We've looked at it. We've spent the last 3 days all analysing it on our own, and now we're going to analyse it together and put our notes together, and that's what they film. And it's just them in each corner of the screen and split up into 4. Hand over to each other after they give their analysis of a particular 3-minute, maybe 2-minute, maybe 20-second section of somebody on the stand, somebody being interviewed by police, somebody in an interrogation, somebody making an appeal to the news because they've lost a child, something like that. It's all sorts of stuff like that. Or, as I mentioned, when they did the behavioural analysis of all of the different presidents based on what was coming out a week, 10 days ago about UFOs. So, yeah, fascinating stuff if you're into it. And obviously I'm into that because hearing and knowing when someone's lying to me, that's my job now. So watching the behavioural panel is brilliant. I love it.
There was one with Neil Armstrong giving an interview to, I think, a British interviewer. And I saw that one. Did he do that one as well, where he just focused on Neil Armstrong's interview?
I don't recall that, no.
I'll try to find it and post it.
Oh, it might be something
One of
new.
the key things that they made a point about was when someone's lying to you, basically they can be really evasive with the answer. So you'll ask them, like, what colour's the sun? And the answer obviously is yellowy white, yeah? And they'll do everything about answering that question, but not say yellowy white. So, like, did you kill the victim? And they'll say everything but no. They'll say, like, well, and it's that evasiveness is what we call obfuscation tactics.
Do you know what they call it on the behavioural panel? On the behavioural panel, they call it chaff and redirect.
Well, we call that obfuscation, but we recognise that technique. We recognise that they never answer questions, direct questions. They can't say that gravity's not a force. They just can't say it. They just got to waffle about Einsteinian stuff, but never say, like we say it all the time, we say gravity's not a force. They can't say that word. So when you ask them, is gravity a force? The answer is, no, gravity is not a force, but they can't say it. So that evasiveness that all ball earthers present, it tells you that they are lying. Right? Whether gravity is a force or not is kind of irrelevant. Their current physics tells you, or their current science tells you by Einstein, it's an effect, but they can't say it. So that evasiveness is demonstrable with the likes of the Rumpus, with Brenda, with Zanuck, with all those people, because they can't say gravity's an effect. Why? Because then they've got nothing to explain the gas like escaping the Earth's atmosphere, because there's nothing to pull it back. Well, that evasive technique is documented well, and it's like, yeah, they're all these ballers do exactly the same thing.
The true
If gravity wasn't
the
a
true
force,
problem.
then their model wouldn't work.
Exactly.
Go ahead, Eli was first,
The
then
truth-
Arwin. Go ahead, Eli.
The real problem is the media that inundates the public with fallacious logic now 24 hours a day. Whereas before the news was only like an hour, 2 hours a day. Now it's all day long, where they show you exactly how to argue fallaciously with one another. That's the real problem.
And the thing is, ball earthers don't even recognize, acknowledge, or accept that they're being fallacious with their argumentum. They think that their arguments are sound, even though they're begging the question, affirming the consequence, they're reifying mathematics into existence by calculating the radius when they haven't got a radius. All that stuff, yeah, it's mainstream, and that's why they think it's normal.
Quick shout out. Go on, and then I'll do the chat after. Or you just making background noise for us. Riven and Cobus, can you both put yourselves on mute? You're just creating background noise. Shout out to Bjorn Magnuson. That's a strong name you got there, my friend. Welcome to Penguin. Thank you very much indeed for joining as a channel member.
Yeah, I was going to say, just to elaborate on what Stephen Warrior was saying. he says that they don't realise that their examples are reifying. And it's the same thing happened when I was trying to give you an example of, let's say the North Pole had a pole there, and Nathan's first response was, have I been to the North Pole? No, I haven't. Have you been there? No. So it's a thought experiment I want to participate in. And you was trying to be sympathetic, and you said, oh no, well let's say we do know North, that's reify North for a start. Then how do we know that South is in different directions? How do we confirm that? And then I still didn't realise I was reifying, because obviously in my head, as long as I got the point that, oh, well, if South can't be in different directions, but then you think, how can you confirm if you all walk in different directions that
you end up antipode? Yeah, you assume your outcome when you do what you're describing. So, although it sounds nonsensical because the way Tommy phrased it, sorry, Tommy, you can obviously start at the north and move south. The problems are when they're measuring declinations of stars, the assumption is that you can get a 90-degree position to Polaris at the North Pole. Well, show us. Oh, well, we can't do that. We just have to assume that we've got a 90-degree starting point, because other than that, we haven't got any way of getting the angles in the first instance, because everything's supposed to be curved. So we need a starting point. Well, they use a starting point that nobody's actually showing you and nobody's going to, and nobody's actually verifying is actually a starting point on a presupposed spherical Earth. But the main trick is to beg the question, which is what you do when you just know you're right and you know you're already on a sphere. Well, if you already know you're on a sphere and you're going to beg the question without realising it, you're going to assert that when you travel south, you're travelling to the bottom of a ball. You're assuming that on that journey, when you move out towards the horizon in a southward direction, that you will arrive antipodal from where you began. That's just begging the question fallacy.
Yeah. You also assume that the angular change that you measure is a function of the curvature of the land you're traversing across and nothing to do with perspective. The full assumption is that the angular change is just as a consequence of the Earth curving away.
If you think about it, when you go out, I've rang Nathan and Nathan's rang me and said at times, go and look at the moon right now, for whatever reason, right? But for me, if I was trying to tell Nathan where the moon is, I would always have to reference the horizon. It's either just above the horizon or it's miles above the horizon, like vertical or whatever. But like ordinarily, you'd say it's like in your head, in my head, I'd be saying it's just above the petrol station or it's near that church or whatever. But obviously that doesn't work for Nathan because obviously I don't know whether he's got a petrol station but the question remains, how do I know that when he's looking at the moon, he's looking in the same direction that I am? It's just assumed. How can you prove that we're both looking in the same direction as each other at the same time? And they say, well, you're looking at the moon, so you must be. Yeah, I can see the logic in that. But what happens when you're looking in like South America compared to Australia? You're both looking at supposedly the southern rotation point. But how do you know that the guy in Australia is looking at the same bearing as you? Not the same direction. You're both looking at the rotation point. But how do you know that he's looking in the same direction as you? And the problem is they've got something called magnetic declination, which they've got to adjust for on their model because it doesn't look true south for whatever reason. But the fact that that exists means they're acknowledging that you're not looking in the same direction as each other. That means that you're not looking at the bottom end of the ball like we're looking at Polaris. They're looking in different directions. They completely ignore that. They say, magnetic declination doesn't apply. Oh, really? Well, you need to explain it because on a ball, it's got to be south. And it isn't south, is it? They just completely... But relative directions are important. How do I know that Nathan's looking in the same direction as me when we're both looking at the moon? You can't confirm it.
You can't either way, but regardless, that doesn't work for flat or globe to anyone's favour. But in the description that you just gave, you said on a ball. So long as you make that assumption or they force that begging the question fallacy upon you, you're going to be assuming that you've got antipodal positioning when you're taking this reading, declination or otherwise. But without that assumption that you move antipodal when you go south, you're not proving anything. In other words, there is no link between these measurements of these celestial bodies, regardless of declination. But you're right, on a ball, unless you assume you're on a ball.
Can I input something?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. One of the most convincing, on an intuitive level, evidences that I've seen that the Earth is not literally a ball, right? However, it's connected, is basically jet airplanes flying over the sea, like really close to it, being all bro-ish, like, oh, look at me, right? But the thing is, they go incredibly fast. and you really have to be in an equilibrium to do that for a prolonged time, right? So if it was a ball, how can you get a perfect circumdicular equilibrium with the surrounding at that speed for so long that you would be able to fly and not automatically constantly have to pull down because you're going incredibly fast over the curve? But no, they just go perfectly straight.
I think,
You're right, Darwin. No, what I say to Globers, when a plane flies, right, does it behave exactly as if it would fly over a motionless plane? And they go, yeah. So it literally behaves as if it's not under a rotating reference frame. It literally flies like it's in like a closed flat. It leaves like it's flying over a flat surface. It doesn't deviate. You don't see any curvature. You don't experience it, feel it, or get any deviations from any speed change. So it's literally emulating exactly what you would expect to see on a flat Earth. So it's literally flat Earth evidence, isn't it? The behavior of a plane.
Yes, and this is something that Brian's Logic's currently calling Wolfie out for. So subscribe today to Brian's Logic, and he's been asking a question that's I don't know if this is the right term because Adam sat there, an enhancement on what Adam was currently arguing up until now anyway. And they've discussed that on this show. But moreover, go and check it out on Brian's Logic's channel, because other than being handed back really crappy strawmen arguments that assume their position in the first instance, therefore assume that you're going to track a ball when you're not dropping in any way, shape or form, well, that's something Brian's actually calling out Wolfie for. So, interesting stuff. Subscribe today to Brian's Logic.
Yeah, good videos, definitely related. But in my example, it's specifically about super fast jet planes that can do this at a very low surface level and stay at the exact same height, right? With an airplane that's a regular propeller airplane or whatever, I can imagine that a baller might imagine like, oh yeah, it might just go with the air layer or whatever. But with a jet plane, you're going so fast. It's like a rocket going through the air. It's very tough to keep stable, right? With the jet plane that goes that fast. Yet they manage at such a low height for such a long time. That simply could never happen on a ball, ever.
Do you guys remember a very popular show in the 90s called The Krypton Factor with Gordon Burns?
Of course.
They used to have this simulation round, and one of the rounds, as it got more developed later on in the time, it was landing a plane that was on an aircraft carrier that was out in the sea, and it was traveling. And it's acknowledged to be one of the most difficult aerobatic maneuvers that you could talk about loop the loops and barrel rolls and all that. Landing on a moving target is considered to be one of the most difficult things, because you've got to be continuously adjusting your trajectory as you're coming in. And they had that as one of their things, but it's supposed to be one of the most difficult. If the Earth was moving, then landing on a runway is going to cause you a problem, because you're meant to be moving.
They do say. I heard a NASA video I watched. And it was on about landing the shuttle, the aircraft. And it says the way they enter the atmosphere, when they come back down to Earth, they have to calculate it so precisely that if they miss it by like 2-3 seconds as they enter the atmosphere, that it could change the trajectory for like 300 miles from the landing point, because the Earth's rotating at such a high speed comparative as it's coming in. So they have to enter it at the right angle and at the right time. And if it's off by a few seconds, that's like 100 miles. It'll be off the landing point. So it's very crucial that they get the entry point accurate. So they're literally telling you that that's what they're doing in space.
So
they enter the atmosphere.
It's like the wardrobe in Narnia. You've got to enter it just the right way.
Right, quick shout out to Tony Whittaker, who says, they claim orbits of satellites, which we don't see, but don't claim orbits of planes that we do see. Thank you very much indeed for the super chat. Really appreciate your support, Tony. As it was discussed earlier, and there's a short pause while I've done that shout out, Flatzoid has got that show running in 5 hours from now, so UK time 8 o'clock or 100 hours. That's on Flatzoid's channel, so go and check it out. I don't exactly know what it's covering. I've not watched the video it's responding to, even though it's got my face on the thumbnail. But I'll definitely watch Flatzoid's video about it, so I'll be there, and hopefully you will too. Be here or be sphere for Flatzoid FE, and the show is called Ranty Obliterated. So check it out.
How many hours from now is it, Nathan?
8 o'clock. UK time. 5 hours.
I'll be
from
watching
now.
that. So that's going to be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 5.5 hours from now. I'll be there with my popcorn.
You know what's crazy about the satellites? Like they're supposed to be geostationary, so they should just be in the sky at a position that you could point a telescope at and say, "Oh, look, you know, there's a satellite." But I don't. Has anybody ever done that? How does it work?
I've certainly been sent videos of it. I've not done it personally. It was something that came up really early on. Now, at the time, I didn't know that orbits was a begging the question fallacy, but it's one of those that, like Anthony's described many times, if you've got an inkling and you want to see if it's right or not, you just have to put it out there and see what people come up with. So yeah, so I've certainly been sent what people claim to be a light that's completely stationary while the other stars move around it.
Not all satellites are geosynchronous. Some of them actually do orbit, apparently. They're the ones that fall out the sky and land in Brazilian rainforests, though.
Those are balloons.
Hey, you guys, can I jump in for a second?
Feel free.
Thanks. We got Napsonot challenging you, Nathan, in chat, but he's in voice chat. Tell us all about it, Napsonot. What you got to say about fallacies and stuff? You gonna stay? You just gonna stay on chat?
I'm a she, first of all. And
Okay.
what does it matter? What does it matter if I'm in voice chat or in the regular chat? What difference does it?
Very nice to have you.
Because you're challenging Nathan. But he's right. You can talk to him.
Why are you white knighting for him?
What's white knighting?
Did you have a question? And it's very nice to
Why
have
are
you.
you fighting his battle for him?
Nap, it's nice to have you. What would you like to go? What would you like to go by? What can I call you?
What was that?
What can I call you?
I said.
Not you, Anthony.
What?
What can I call you? What do you go by?
Oh, Naps.
Nap. Very nice to have you. Did you have a question you wanted to ask?
No, I had no question. I don't know why he felt the need to bring me up, but you know.
Well, you're showboating in chat, so by requesting you to speak is a challenge for you to talk.
How am I showboating? Why am I talking about you personally? No. So what is your issue?
I think what they're trying to get across
But
is.
I've got an issue. I've got an issue with you.
Okay. Well, she's here now. Was there something that you were in chat discussing that perhaps you wanted to discuss with us? That would be lovely. If so, if not, don't worry about it.
I just made a comment about the terminology you guys use. It's just funny. That's the only thing I said.
Perfect. What was it specifically?
It's just like making up all these like, oh, it's begging the question fallacy and blah blah. I'm like, I've never even heard of that before. It's like you just make up words.
So let me get it straight. Because you've never heard of it, you think I've made it up?
Definitely made up.
Oh, really?
I don't think
Have you, by chance, Google searched it?
Let's do so.
Say again? It bewilders me as to why somebody would claim that I'm making something up, having not actually checked by way of a quick Google search to see if it is actually something that you can find easily. Have you done that?
We're okay. Let's look it up. Let's Google. Let's do that.
No problem. We'll just establish while you're doing that so far you've claimed I've made something up. We'll see how this goes.
I'm telling you right now, this is going to be bad.
You built up the wrong tree, sister.
How you getting on there, Nap? Would you like to read out what you've got in front of you? Hello?
I thought it was me. Why is everybody so silent?
We're waiting for Nap. There's a
Yeah.
basically what's happened, Darwin, is in the chat. She's claimed I've made up stuff like begging the question fallacy because
I'm looking it
she
up.
is now going to interrupt me when there was long pauses for her to talk, of course. So, she's claimed I've made up a fallacy. Begging the question, never heard of it. You made it up. So I've said, go and Google it. Let's see if I have made it up or not. And now there's lots of silences.
You constantly make up things. Like, you're like the stereotypical flat earther.
If I found it,
So funny to me.
I see. So far, you've specifically claimed I've made up begging the question because you've never heard of it. Have you Google searched it yet? That's
No.
where we're at.
I think you like to just make up fallacies.
Yeah, I heard that 3 times. We're not deaf. I heard you. You are under the impression I make stuff up. We understand that. You've said it 3 times. Now we're trying to ascertain if I have or not.
It's okay.
And you seem to be talking through me. So have you Google searched it, love?
Breathe. Thank you.
You seem to be muttering quite a lot. Can you just answer yes or no? Have you Googled something which you have claimed I have made up, yes or no? How long is this going to take?
It would not. Let me tell you something.
Let me tell you something, you stupid woman. I have not made up begging the question. You are just a retard who assumes I'm wrong because I'm a flat earther. Now I'm going to tear a strip off you, you dumb bitch. I have not made up begging the question. You're just a dumb bitch. And you don't know what I'm talking about because you don't know and are ignorant. Therefore, your ignorance has led you to accuse me of making stuff up. I haven't. You're thick. Do you understand me, thicko? Hello? You are ignorant. It is a real fallacy. To assume one's outcome is to beg the question. Because you haven't heard of it doesn't mean I've made it up because I'm a flat earther, you complete idiot. Laugh it up, you stupid bitch. I have not made up begging the question, you daft bint.
Wait, calm down.
Calm down? You've accused me of making shit up. I haven't. You're just ignorant. Now I'm tearing a strip off you for being an ignorant globe-believing retard who assumes because I'm a flat earther, I've made up begging the question. No, love.
You are.
So you still think I've made up begging the question, do you, dumb shit? Laugh it up, you dumb shit. You're being humiliated by a flat earther for your assumption that I've made up the fallacy of begging the question. I haven't. You're just thick.
No. This is what you do.
You stutter for me, you stammering dickhead. I haven't made up begging the question. You've told me I've made it up. You're wrong because you're ignorant. You've also, because you're completely batshit insane, told us why you've made it up. Because you assume I've made it up because I'm a flat earther. What, therefore you know better? And because you've never heard of it, it doesn't exist and I've made it up? No, that displays your complete ignorance of fallacy, love. That makes you thick.
Are you done? Are you done?
What, telling you how stupid you are? No, I will sit here indefinitely and tear a strip off you for your total ignorance of fallacy. I assume you've now Googled it up and realised your error. I haven't made it up. It's not something that doesn't exist simply because it's been stated by a flat earther. It does exist, you're just a globe believer who doesn't research a thing and can't even be asked to Google search it before going on a live show and claiming I've made it up. You stupid idiot. Laugh it up. You're the thicko here, globe believer. Let's get that clear. Do you realise how stupid you are?
Is he done?
What, telling you how stupid you are? No, I could do it all day. I get people like you coming and assuming that I've made stuff up because I'm a flat earther all the time. You have literally told me I've made up a begging the question fallacy. It doesn't exist because you've never heard of it. I've never heard something so stupid.
You fucking fake.
Yeah, swear for me, bitch. You're thick as fuck, bitch.
You're a joke.
Yeah, you're thick as fuck and you're stuttering too. How do my nuts taste, you stupid retard?
You're a fucking joke.
Yeah, you're being humiliated and berated for claiming, without any concession, by the way, you're still under the apprehension that you're in the right here, presumably having Googled it and realised how wrong you are. having been directed to do so by the only person with any common sense here. Between you and I, that is. You being thick, going on a live show and claiming begging the question's made up.
You're still talking.
I run a show, you stupid cow!
You stupid cow.
Yes, that's precisely what you are, love. You've come here and literally claimed up, but because I'm a flat earther, begging the question's been made up.
You're not a flat earther. That's the thing. You're not.
Yeah, and I know what a begging the question fallacy is, unlike you, love.
You fucking
Yeah, you don't know what begging the question is and thought it was made up, you stupid idiot.
You have a whole bunch of.
Yeah, you thought begging the question was made up now, didn't you, love?
Every word.
Sorry, are you going to address the fact that you thought, because you're a stupid idiot, that begging the question was made up? Hello! You thought begging the question was made up, you stupid bint!
You're a fucking joke.
You keep swearing at me. You've got no reason to. You're the idiot here. You literally thought a fallacy that's well detailed with a simple Google search was made up because I'm a flat earther stating it, and you didn't know what it was. Well, if I don't know it and a flat earther saying it must be made up. You arrogant twat.
You'll be doing this stupid bullshit for the rest of your life.
What? Stupid bullshit like going on a live show and claiming begging the question's made up? That kind of stupid shit.
Get a real job, Nathan.
This is my job. I'm paid to do this, to humiliate arrogant, globe-believing dicks like you who will literally go onto a live show and claim that a begging the question fallacy doesn't exist. Yeah, laugh it up, you stupid cow. Yeah, laugh it up. That's how thick you are.
This is hilarious.
What? How stupid you are.
I'm laughing in your face.
What have you got to say for yourself about the begging the question fallacy you came in to claim I'd made up? Do you feel stupid? You should.
Okay.
Don't mutter. Explain your stupidity to us and the live audience.
You're not fucking worth a conversation.
Oh, really? But you're worth coming here to leave comments in my chat that I don't read and then literally tell a live audience that begging the question isn't real? You stupid mong.
You stupid mong.
Yeah, keep repeating back my insults that are based on the demonstrable fact that you don't know what a begging the question fallacy is. And because you don't know what it is, you thought I made it up.
Grow up.
Sorry, grow up.
3-year-olds do.
Sorry, growing up would involve educating myself on what a fallacy was before I went on a live show and told the host that he's made it up.
Like a bunch of idiots.
Sorry, is that all you've got, to call me an idiot 15 times through the fact that you thought begging the question was made up? Is that really all you've got?
You do nothing else but yell.
Yell at idiots who think begging the question's made up. You ever going to address the actual point here, love?
Hey, God.
You ever going to address the actual problem you've got here, idiot?
Nathan.
You going to address the point?
Carry on.
I don't need permission. I need you to address the fact you thought begging the question was made up, you idiot.
Did you look it up yet? Fucking moron.
Sat herself on mute. Which you can't add
Are
on
you
me through me
minion?
like she's doing the moment the silence is broken by me. She's not going to talk unless she can talk straight through me with insults.
Like you're doing right now?
You are thick as shit. Demonstrably so, based on the fact that you claim begging the question was made up simply because you've never heard of it. That makes you a demonstrable spastic. You don't have to like it, love, it's a fact. You can try and talk through it, my audience will still hear it, and every single one of them knows how stupid you are.
Congratulations, lady. You're the dumbest
Grow up.
individual to ever walk in here.
But grow up is your response. Do you still think begging the question was made up by me, love?
Yes. Grow up. Act like an adult.
Sorry, is grow up your response to me asking you if you still think begging the question's made up?
You're a fucking joke.
Is you're a fucking idiot your response to do you still think begging the question was made up by me?
I think you're a fucking liar.
And is that you saying yes? You still think begging the question was made up by me?
I think you are a liar.
So begging the question was a lie made up by me then?
You use stereotypical language.
Sorry, begging the question's the subject matter that you seem terrified of because it demonstrates how stupid you are.
Smart.
Yeah, I am smart, love. Considerably smarter than your dumbass, who literally, because you couldn't be asked to do a Google search, claim a flat earther had made up a fallacy. Off the top of their head. Somebody who broadcasts literally to hundreds of people daily is going to go to the extent and stupidity of making up a fallacy like no one would ever call me on it. But you think you're so smart because you've never heard of it to claim I've made it up. That literally makes you thick, love. Like, really thick.
They talk shit about you. They do.
Sorry, are you ever going to address this begging the question you came in to tell me I've made up or not? You ever going to address that, love?
You make up a lot of stuff.
Sorry, you keep obfuscating away from the problem you've got with your claim I made up a fallacy, only to then cause a lot of ruckus when it's pointed out how stupid you look for simply Google searching it and proving yourself wrong.
I don't give a fuck.
You don't care how stupid you look. Well, just
Kick her
remove
out,
her.
Nathan. She's wasting our time.
Yeah, it's wasting my time, man. I
She's
wait for
just
this
triggered
show.
now. She's
Okay.
just triggered only ad homing. I've only heard ad homing from her in the last few minutes.
I went
Damn.
for a cup of coffee, right? I went for a cup of coffee to come back to hear somebody coming with the most ridiculous thing. And is this the level of desperation that they've got that they can only challenge us on just complete idiocy? Nothing to do with the nature of the earth because they've lost there. All they can do now is come in and make something up and then just realistically just sound a little insane, frankly. And talking about calling people childish, nothing more childish than constantly ignoring somebody, yeah, and then just insulting and just throwing straightforward ad hom, which is all I've heard from that lady. And one other thing, not heard the word bint used in ages. Well done, Nate.
Yeah, as soon as you're proven wrong, you're going to have a little paddy through the person pointing out how stupid you are and talk through it. So in the vain hope that people won't realise how stupid you are, if you try and talk through the top of me telling my audience how stupid you are, for assuming that flat earthers make up fallacies like begging the question, only to go away and Google search it and realise how fucking stupid you are.
Oh my God.
And there she is right on cue while I point out how stupid she is to interrupt me. Because it's hard. It's hard to hear it. Hard to hear that you're stupid in front of a live audience, 150 people live listening to how stupid you are, love. That's really difficult for you, I know. And you're going to attempt to obfuscate that fact being pointed out to my live audience by talking through me. Yeah, nice try, love. It's not going to work. I am going to point out how stupid it is to claim that a fallacy's been made up simply because I'm a flat earther and you haven't bothered typing it into Google, you thick bint. Yeah, I will point that out over and over again while you attempt to obfuscate away from your lack of humility in this regard, total lack of humility, and your constant attempts to interrupt it. Yeah, you're not going to get that chance, you thick bint. No, I'll just point out how stupid you are indefinitely, while you rage through me, thinking that you're going to get through to my audience to obfuscate the fact that you're thick. You are. You're like every globe believer that comes here. It was detailed beautifully by Tommy before you got here. Tommy told us all about how he thought he was right just because he was on a globe, and we were telling our audience that it's flat. So obviously we're wrong. Obviously we've made up this fallacy. We're flat earthers, right, aren't we, love? So of course we've made up the fallacy. You can automatically assume that with your arrogance, that we're stupid and you're smart. And then you get in front of 150 people and get demonstrate just how stupid you actually are. She spoke through every word of that. She didn't listen to a single word.
I'd like to know
Just
what
want
else
money
you
from
made up.
these dumbasses is going to give it to you.
Yeah,
Sorry, do you think begging the question's made up? Let's see how many. I'm going to start counting it off how many times I have to ask this question.
You can ask the same question to your fucking blue in the face. I don't give a fuck.
Is begging the question made up?
You're dealing with a troll. How long are you going to do this?
No, it's not a troll. That's a normal person. She's a woman. A woman at the end of a
she's not a troll.
microphone, sharing her pain after being humiliated. So she's going to attempt to obfuscate it at every opportunity, talk through it. Troll is the behaviour. Person is what we're dealing with. A person who's been humiliated, and then fight or flight kicks in. So she's going to scream and rage through me, pointing out just how stupid she is at every opportunity she's going to get. Doesn't make her a troll or a non-person, just an embarrassment to her globe belief.
This is not a troll simply because I have conversations like this with people that I'm like, well, I mean, whether they take on troll behavior, they're for real. They're not doing this on purpose. They just think they're right, and that's as far as their intellect goes.
To come on the show and think begging the question is not real? Really?
Shout out to Phoenix Rising 86. Indeed, deal. Yeah. Oh my God. Willfully ignorant and refusing to use Google search. Indeed. It's pathetic. If you're going to go in front of a live audience and claim someone's made something up, the least you can do is tap it into Google first, right? It's absolutely pathetic. But that's the level of arrogance that we have to deal with when someone's got a globe belief. Well, I've got a globe belief. They're obviously wrong. So much so, every word that comes out of their mouth I can challenge for a live audience as being made up, only to be demonstrated completely incorrect with a simple Google search, pointed out and asked to be done by the flat earther I'm accusing. You'd think that you'd have the logical inclination to actually do that yourself, but that's the level of stupidity. You need to be pointed out that maybe do a Google search before you claim that I've made it up. I had to point that out to you, love. That's how stupid
Nathan,
you are.
There's a million and one fallacies out there, right? But one of the most famous ones is the one that's being. I'm just aghast that it's not just. It's ignorance at best, and then topped with a real good dose of arrogance on top to follow it. But fundamentally, the level of ignorance to come in and not know that fallacy and not have heard of it, and then the arrogance to then say because you've not. And attack you. It is either complete trolling or really, really very, very ignorant.
It's outright stupidity on a massive scale. Shout out to Guns of Navarone RMP says, recognise her voice from Brandon's show. I feel sorry for her. Yeah, I've kind of reached that point too, Guns of the Navarone. You know, as much as people want to go, she's a troll. It's like, yeah, she's just a person. Person that's really, really stupid, embarrassingly so. Shout out to Sebastian Telio also. He's not actually put anything as far as I can see unless it's my screen. But thank you very much indeed for the super chat all the same. Really do appreciate your support.
Here's what we don't know, right? Like, or what we don't realize, I don't think, because we're out of touch. We're beyond, we may as well be a secret society. And the thing is, with people, like, they truly don't know what lies are called. That's all fallacious reasoning is some sort of logical error taken somewhere, and it's basically just a lie.
You made up fallacious reasoning.
And so the thing about that is, before I came to this place, I would detail with many words what someone was doing, how I think they're lying. I just didn't know the fallacy that was tied to it. But going beyond that, it's like I said before, how we argue in school, how our parents dictate to us. This all inundates us with this fallacious reasoning.
With that, I'm going to say, if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering Stream, stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, if you are watching this live, this is where we bid you farewell. So a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you who smashed the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, and joined as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member. Also, below this video, you can get £50 for swapping your UK electricity supplier to Octopus Energy. Once again, stay tuned if you're watching on either the Premiering Stream. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
What a lovely day!
on TV. Well, that begs the question. Come on a live show and say something stupid like that.
Do you know, I was actually going to be
back it up.
kind to her and suggest
Kind
that
to her?
maybe I was going to
Tell her Nathan
suggest
to
that
get a real
perhaps
job.
I was going to suggest that perhaps she'd like to retract her previous statement of lunacy, but then I sat there and how she was talking, and I was like, nah, fuck her, let her go.
No, she wasn't
Yeah,
gonna.
she needs to be abused as much as she can be abused.
What
Because
the-
she is just an arrogant broad who thinks that she is right and we're just a bunch of idiots sitting on
Wrong word.
on you.
Sorry, not abused. Berated. There's a difference between being berated and being abused. No, not abuse. Being berated, Neil.
Right. Well, I think she came to the wrong
Abuser.
No,
She
Neil.
was actually supposed to go to Kevin Samuels.
This is crazy, dude.
It needs pointing out her ignorance and arrogance.
She's probably never been talked to like that. Right?
When somebody
So
comes
she-
up with something stupid, it's just called abuse them now.
I thought that was a
Don't
good
use
example.
their lingo, Neil.
Smack her around, give her a couple of shots with your
Neil,
words.
for the love of God, no. Can you please not say so?
I said
Neil,
with your words.
stop talking. Don't say those things on this show.
Yikes.
I said with your words, not with your hands. I've never hit a woman in my life.
Just don't
Change
abuse.
subject, please.
Deal with it properly.
Let me change the subject because I thought Tommy's turning up today was quite good. He explained that, and following his explanation of how he turned up, how he was arrogant, how he knew he was right, not through facts, but because we were flat earthers. To have somebody come and literally demonstrate that, but with a level of more ignorance than Tommy had, and only be able to be taught the way she did was, well, I thought was a great example of what Tommy had said. I mean, it was a better example than Tommy and more extreme in the ignorance, but like I say, that was quite well timed.
Well, exactly. The example with Tommy is different because Tommy could think on his feet. Tommy's not stupid, that's for sure. Now, he might have been ignorant in that regard, but he's not stupid. So he could think on his feet and work around problems on the spot. She couldn't, other than telling me I'm an idiot and I'm a kid and I'm begging for money. That's it. Personal attacks ad hominem.
Well, because as soon
You
as she
could tell-
Googled it and found it, she realized,
Yeah.
whoa, I'm in trouble here.
I was about to say the same thing. This is why she resorted to ad homs and obfuscating, basically, because she knew she didn't have an argument. I don't know why she would come on.
Yeah, she did just kind of call you an idiot for like 10 minutes
I
and
have
then
no
said
idea.
nothing else.
In the
That
meantime,
was the reason why I was going to give her an out and give her the opportunity to retract her previous conversation, and then I realised that she was just being a tit. So I thought, nah.
Can I just hear Neil again? Neil on the. It's not Neil. It's not corpse.
Yeah, hi.
That's a voice for radio right there.
Yeah, it is.
Thank you.
Please don't say begging the question is not real.
Dr. Bear again. I'm kidding.
They all are. They've been programmed to think we're stupid. That's why this show can be so good sometimes. Because there's idiots out there that tune in and go,
yeah, that show was
yeah,
pretty
they're idiots.
entertaining.
Can I not be heard?
They're yes.
Yes, you can.
They're-
We did hear you
they're
then.
They're dead serious though.
So
like
I
whenever
noticed-
you talk to a Gem Panda or whenever you talk to any of these people, and you say, "Well, you're using fallacious reasoning. Here's what you said. Here is the fallacy," and they'll say, "Oh, you're just a Nathan parrot." Like, I mean, come on, bruh. Come on.
Okay. So I said, can I not be heard? And then you said, yeah. And then you just continue talking. All right. So can I say something?
Yeah, the time to
Jesus
get
Christ.
the actual timing to get in as the next person is measured in milliseconds, I'm afraid, Rams. Harp, my bad.
Yeah, I'm not Ransom Harp. Yeah. So I noticed you're poking the bear still. And I noticed you got 63 comments and no pictures, no video.
Oh, yes, of course.
No
Thank you.
proof of this.
Yeah, I got a
Ring of
comment from
fire.
somebody who I put out the.
Interesting.
Do you remember, guys? Do you remember I was saying that I was going to put out a reminder, so I make like the 3-minute version as the trailer that goes out while it's waiting to premiere, and then I can republish that a couple of days later. Well, I've been keeping a close eye on it because I'm like, has he actually got something here? Because, as I said on the last show, we'd normally have them coming down on us like a ton of bricks with the vitriol abuse with the demonstrable evidence that matches their claim when they beg the question. This time, I've got things like, oh, well, it's good that we've got a repeat of a video again. It's like, no, this is a unique video, but where's the picture? Where's the totality that you were asked for? It's really been made clear. People saying, what's your actual point in this video? And you're like, it was made so clear by Harp. I couldn't have been any more concise. Gave the date, gave what he was asking for, told what he'd been given and how it wasn't what he was asking for, said it twice, said it in summary, said it 3 times. Basically, you can't get any more clear, but the criticisms on the video aren't, here's what was supposed to happen as per a prediction, and here's an image of it. Not at all.
And this should be very simple because they were up in a plane. We were able to see the eclipse sun for about a half hour with 4.5 minutes in which we saw the bright ring around the black silhouette of the moon. Where is it? Where is that video?
I did.
You don't think they would take a 4.5 minute video? I mean, a 30-minute video? I mean, a video of the whole.
Jeez, Harp, can you not hear Adam?
Uh,
Go ahead, Adam. I'm only joking up.
I'm only backing him up. I did a little search. Very little. Lots of people talking about what it will be. Few videos that are then pointed out that that's an old video that claim to be it. Few things saying, yeah, well, it wasn't going to be like that in America, only in Canada. But there's nothing, absolutely no pictures that I could come across. And I spent half an hour looking. But only those sorts of things and old images of what it would look like, what it will look like, but nothing after the event. Even did a time. I did a time search afterwards, the past day, past week, etc. And there's nothing there. It comes up empty when you start looking for that. So very odd.
So, can you summarise it again, please, Harp, in terms of what you're asking for and what you've been given so far that isn't what you're asking for? Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's very simple. June 10th, there was supposed to be a ring of fire eclipse. The totality was supposed to start, excuse me, right above like Lake Superior and go up through Ontario, Canada, and not like the outskirts, Dead Man's, like I was being told. And then up through Russia, Alaska, Greenland. It went, it was pretty far. So this dude, again, was up there in an airplane so that the clouds weren't blocking him. A lot of people were complaining about the clouds blocking, but we had airplanes and we had eclipse chasers out there taking picture and video. I don't see any. There are none. Thing I just read, they're saying all kinds of stuff. It was brilliant, but we were able to see the eclipse sun for about a half hour with 4.5 minutes in which we saw the bright ring. So where's that video? There is none.
Was it meant to be an annular eclipse?
Correct.
Ah.
So as it stands, we've got a prediction, and some of the commenters are like, well, how do you even predict this on a flat Earth? And we're like, okay, you've predicted how something should happen on the heliocentric model, and then the event has come and gone, and we've not been provided any demonstration that your prediction, not that we're making predictions, and normally we wouldn't pay any attention to it because we assumed incorrectly that you'd actually got this pretty well pegged because you've got the patterns particularly well pegged and you've matched them up to your Bohr model. Now, I don't give a crap either way whether it's right or wrong, but from what I glean, you've clearly put your necks on the chopping block with this claim that's been around for a long time, that it will work perfectly in a heliocentric model, and yet you've given us absolutely dick to verify that you actually saw this totality to confirm your presuppositional R-value based Earth with an R-based value moon getting between you and the sun at a distance that's been based on that R-value. Well, all that assumption has got predictions that apparently are always right. Where the hell is the demonstrable proof that at the very least you're begging the question fallacy prediction did match up with the predictions of all the other non-heliocentric predictions that had this eclipse in it? Because that's fundamental to your claim. Not that we won't just point out it's a begging the question fallacy after the fact, but we'd like to see you actually back what you've claimed would happen on June 10th. Who's got their picture presented and I'll put it up? Oh, it's Adam.
That's me. Oh.
Okay. Yeah, I've got you up, Adam.
No, it was just to share the article, just saying that they, just to demonstrate their claim or what they said was going to happen. So I think it was HARP. But there, look, it's listed there where it would be.
Can you read it?
Also, you remember that I brought up the Great Conjunction that was supposed to happen. It also did not happen.
Saturn and Jupiter. Yeah, that again, same thing, right? If you were in orbital motion and all of Kepler's third law of interplanetary motion has padded out correctly and they've got the scales all perfect with their assumption of Venus being the same size and this conjunction's going to happen in that cycle and they can predict it because they're always right because they're on a ball when they assume they're on a ball. Well, then let's see it actually matching up with your prediction. Not that it proves you're on a ball when you do, but nevertheless, we'd like to see your claim actually being put out there with the evidence, as opposed to evidence from previous eclipses, or telling us how wonderful it was without any images.
So I'll read the claim then quickly. The path of the annular or ring of fire eclipse is shown as the curved red swath on the map below. Astronomers call this path the annularity. You must be within this narrow track along the Earth's surface to see the ring of fire. In all, the eclipse lasts for 1 2/100 minutes. It starts at sunrise in Ontario, Canada, on the north side of Lake Superior. Then the eclipse path circles across the northern reaches of the globe. Midway along the path, the great eclipse occurs at the local noon in northern Greenland. Afterwards, the annual eclipse path swings to the Earth's north pole. It ends at sunset over northeastern Siberia. And there's the picture. So quite a bold claim.
Yeah, there's your model. Well, it's all moving around it like you say in your model when you assume you're on that model and assume we're antipodal in the south. And that's how you say it matches up with the stars in your model when you beg the question. But we don't seem to have been presented with any evidence that actually backs that when you beg the question. I keep saying that just so you know that we're not going to automatically accept a globe if you were to present the totality of this June 10th eclipse 2021. Doesn't mean anything. But we haven't been given it, and we'd like to point that out, because we weren't claiming it. We weren't saying eclipses prove a globe. Not that they do anyway.
Wait, they don't?
No, not unless you beg the question and affirm the consequent, no. I haven't made up an affirming the consequent formal logical fallacy either. That is really a thing.
So there was a lot of symbolism, symbolism that went along with that great conjunction, because that was like a father and son. Saturn and Jupiter, Kronos and Zeus, they were supposed to become as one. Do you understand that?
Yeah, indeed.
It didn't happen.
Well, that's what I was just about to summarise with a bit of logic attached to it. So if I'm going to say that it's an affirming the consequent, which would be if the Earth's a sphere, P, then we will experience a solar eclipse, thus, Q. We have experienced the solar eclipse, thus, Q, therefore, P, Earth's a sphere. Well, the problem is that even within that logical fallacy, with you assuming that Earth's a sphere as your premise, P, and then moving on to saying that we will experience something that we've already got the patterns for anyway, which would be a solar eclipse, that would be a Q statement. Well, to make the logical fallacy work, even though it's a fallacy, you've still got to say, here's the eclipse, therefore I'm saying Earth's a sphere in my formal logical fallacy. But we haven't got the Q bit, have we? For their fallacy to even work in this instance. Now, typically, most flat earthers will go after the fallacy. And then somebody will show, well, here's the eclipse, therefore my fallacy works now, Earth's a sphere. But in this instance, even though we know it's an affirming the consequent form of logical fallacy, we're still in a position where they haven't given us the cue. Where's the eclipse then for your logical fallacy to work?
It's great. It's a good thing. They're so smart. They don't even, we talk about this ISS crap, right? And they don't even understand that you can fake it. It's like, there's no way you can fake this. It's like, dude, the sun is supposed to be 400 times bigger, 400 times further than the moon. So therefore, they sort of look the same. They can't fake the ISS, and they don't get that.
Well, no, a better parallel would be to use something like a wandering star and just make up a staged narrative about it being a circular rocket ship that falls around Earth in whatever motion they've got that particular motion in. So you say, no, it's not, whatever. It's not that planet. It's actually this spaceship. And then you just put people on a stage on high wire and have them floating around. And you say, Mars is actually a spaceship. It's just a light in the sky, but I can say it's a spaceship. And then, well, how do you know it's a spaceship? Well, because look, there it is in the sky. Yeah, but how does that prove that that light in the sky, that orangey red light, is actually what you say is these men on high wire or on a set, clearly on Earth, with green screen behind them? Well, because look at the light in the sky. Look, there's that red dot. Therefore, when I show you my stage performance with men with red lights behind them, that's that light. No, it isn't. Mars isn't men in a studio with red lights on them. Mars is Mars. It's just a light in the sky. Right? Well, how is it any different when I say ISS? There's a light in the sky. Yeah, okay, I see that light. Not very often, but there I see it. Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah, cool. Here's a picture on TV of men on high wire with green screen and lighting. That's that light in the sky. Why? Well, look at the light in the sky. Can you see it? Yeah, I can see the light in the sky. Well, that's what I show you on this TV screen. Obviously, because I say so. No, it's not. It's no more what they show on the screen for the ISS as it is for someone I create in a studio for Mars. It's no different. One doesn't correlate with the... They say it does, but it's not. It's men in a studio, obviously. They're on a bloody trapeze.
Is that visual that Adam's got up now supposed to be the shadow cast on the Earth?
Yeah.
Well, what happened to the Umbra Penumbra?
Oh, here we go. We're going to get into the funny angles now, aren't we?
Converging, diverging.
Correct. It's on screen now. Let's get speak. Hold on, just before you do.
Somebody put that in
hold on.
That's from VIP main chat.
Sorry, Harp. Just one sec. So, light comes in parallel, right? 93 million miles away, based on Venus having the same size as Earth, and Earth having a geometric horizon that you can measure out, and Kepler's third law of interplanetary motion to give you the scaling values. 93 million mile sun, with parallel light coming from it. What in the name of unholy Jesus is this? Converging?
What they're demonstrating there is the extremities of the light that comes in, not necessarily the parallel nature. But I've always looked at that and thought, well, if the light comes in parallel, then a lot of that penumbra would have light coming directly from the sun, and there would be no penumbra.
Sorry, if it comes in parallel, the description for penumbra and umbra has it coming in converging.
Could anybody show me two parallel lines on that diagram?
There isn't any, Adam. Precisely.
Oh,
Anthony's saying if it was parallel, yeah, that's how they say it is. But that's not how the description for this penumbra and umbra works now, is it? Converging, clearly. That's what's depicted.
Well, basically, all it is distinct parts of a shadow when you read about it. And yet they're saying that the stellar bodies have to be so far away that light has to come in parallel. But we don't ever see light coming in parallel because we got divergent rays. I mean, we have video and photographs of it.
Can I just point out as well that what's depicted on screen right now and labelled as Antumbra, which is at the bottom, it's in that B area. That should be what's called the Poisson spot, and we never see that. So what they're describing there as Antumbra, I've never even heard of that one. We don't even see that.
Antumbra is different types of half shadows.
We're not that important. Can somebody post that in our chat? Thank you.
Well, let me round
Okay,
this out.
Sorry, what was that request without sarcasm? Just
Yeah, bossy boots.
somebody want this in Discord, yeah?
The damn
just
picture in the
snippet two
main
on it.
chat, will you
Speak.
please? Jesus.
Okay, yes, you were trying to sort
Be
that
an
out for you.
absolute pleasure.
At your
Thanks.
service.
Grumpy pants.
Discord member. Note to self. Don't give Harp link to G+. I'm only
Did you
joking.
say don't?
I didn't
you
say
say-
anything. I was just making a note to myself. Did I
Okay,
speak out
all
loud?
right. Okay. All right. I got you.
I'm only joking.
I got you.
I'm just kidding with you.
What a serious guy.
It's okay. Okay.
You've had one of the
Karma's
best
a
points
bitch,
in ages,
motherfucker.
to be honest, Harp. So I'm giving you crap. Take it as a sign of affection, in the respect that the reason I'm harping on, no pun intended, about the eclipse is because it's a cracking point. It started off with me poo-pooing it, saying, this will end badly. Someone will just present the eclipse, i.e. the eclipse from the 10th. Well, they didn't. In other words, what I predicted and was like, look, I predicted they'd just come up with an eclipse and lie about it if they haven't got it. Well, yeah, that bit did come true. But I did actually expect that at some point someone would just present the June 10th eclipse, 2021 eclipse in totality and go, there you go, you idiots, and then ridicule us maliciously.
And do you know who should be able to get it? George Natchuk. He's high enough to be able to get close to that.
Well, anybody. It doesn't have to be in our little community. Anybody. It's surely going to be published, right? As somebody said earlier, probably Harp. They're out there tracking it on bloody aeroplanes. Hello?
Well, you know who I vote? I definitely vote the new Glover hero, Rancy. Why doesn't he get in on this?
39,000 feet up. No clouds.
Come on, Globe Earthers. This will be a quick and painless win.
Well, not really. So if we get to the point where they can say if the Earth's a sphere, then we'll experience a solar eclipse on the 10th of June 2021 thusly, and here is the totality eclipse from Canada on June 10th, 2021, therefore Earth's a sphere, completing the if P then Q, Q therefore P, affirming the consequent formal logical fallacy. Once they do that and actually complete the fallacy, which they yet to do because they haven't got the Q statement and not showing us the eclipse itself, then we'll point out that it's affirming the consequent formal logical fallacy that assumes a sphere in the first instance with the P statement, if Earth's a sphere, assuming the very thing they're trying to prove with the eclipse.
Wait, are you guys saying that there's no pictures of the eclipse even partially and fully? There's like zero evidence that there was any eclipse?
No, got a partial. Durf got it. So yeah, there's definitely a partial. Specifically the totality that was definitely made clear by Harp. Say it again, Harp, because it's obviously not. You do need to see these things 10 times. Don't worry about it. Just say it what you want exactly, the date, what you have got, what you haven't got, please, if you don't mind.
On June 10th, 2021, there was supposed to be a ring of fire. There were people chasing this. Started out where you could see the totality above Lake Superior. It traveled up through Canada, and then it did go into some remote places. This is supposed to be a ring of fire. I have not seen the ring of fire. I have seen two little pictures that say, I have seen this guy saying, let me see where he says this again. Because now I lost it. They were up there, okay, so they saw it for a half hour. You remember me saying this. And then they said that they saw that ring of fire for 4.5 minutes. Where's the video? They were above the clouds, 39,000 feet up. So they're claiming that they have it.
Hello? Hello?
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Adam's playing a video now. What have you got, Adam? What are you presenting? Is this gonna? I'm on tenterhooks, but I haven't actually seen totality on this video. Am I missing something?
Well, keep watching. I'll just put this video quickly into Discord so I don't get shouted at. This is all I could find in terms of stuff. It's really odd I'll come back to this in a bit because look, it goes on, but it's very dubious. It's like talking like what's going to happen. So it's like they put up a video, and some people are saying there's a bit of dispute. There's not many comments, but why do people keep posting these wrong eclipse videos? So I'm not sure. It's hard to verify, but it's about to kick in.
Okay, that deals with my next question. Are you certain this is from June 10th, 2021?
Well, it's titled as from Fish News.
Yeah.
But this is the only thing that I could say that actually relates to that one claiming it is. But like I said, it's a bit dubious, and it just says, look, both NASA and Time and Date have published the live stream. It's the way it's written just doesn't feel right, if you see what I mean.
Just read out the specific bit that you've got.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Just, okay, just while you scroll your way to that bit, Harp's already explained this, and he explained it initially immediately because he's gone through the ringer with it once already, or twice probably by now, which is to say that we'll be presented with what are being purported to be a ring of fire, as shown on screen now. Right, it's just gone past it, but you know what I mean. There we go. Perfect timing. But we're not necessarily sure that they've been verified as June 10th, 2021. So while this is showing a ring of fire, it seems dubious in terms of the description. Over to you, Adam.
That's what I'd say. And as I read the stuff, look, both NASA and Time and Date have published the live stream link of the solar eclipse so that everyone can watch this rare astronomical event on June the 10th. See, it's talking in the wrong tense for me. It's like it's an information video, and it's showing you that it just. How can you
phrase it that you have published something that was a live stream? It's like if it was a live stream, it would just be here's NASA's live stream of the eclipse, and someone would have just linked us to the live stream of it. Well, have published it? What, after it was live? Well, where's the live one?
Yeah. That's what it just didn't read right as. So anyway, that's the only thing I could get anywhere near, and it is that, but it is a ring of fire. But you know,
sure. But as I said already,
Yeah,
go on.
I saw this video already, and so they changed something here because in it says. The first solar eclipse of the year will take place on June 10th, which is tomorrow. See, this cannot be what they're saying it is because they screwed up and didn't take the explanation out. Now they have the date set as June 10th, 2021 live. Something ain't right there because I
definitely ain't right, and it stinks. It stinks
of
the before, exact same sort of alteration of fiddling.
Like I said, it's the day before.
Yeah, it's the day before.
It's the day before.
Yes. So it stinks in the same way it stunk when there was actually a live stream that had errors in it that then went down and then got republished by YouTube without being... It's causing that background noise.
I'd agree it stinks, that's that.
Yes, it stinks. Like it stank when Jaron pointed out that they'd done a launch, took it down, edited it, and then republished it with it still saying live on it, like it was actually recorded that way. In this case, they've produced a video, the video you've just watched, which says this is how it will look tomorrow, and then been really weaselly with their wording when they haven't got something to replace it with, or a live stream that's actually live.
Well, I have someone over at Flat Earth.
Yeah, the one Darren was talking about was actually live. They never took it down. They were able to just edit it.
I think it's actually an issue with Harp's connection. Maybe he's got a delay or something because a second into somebody's speaking, he'll just start talking straight through him and asking us if we're doing it to him. So it could be your connection, Harp.
Can you hear me okay? Or
we can hear you okay. It's just, I think there's a slight delay. So when we're responding to you, we'll get a second into a response and you'll start talking. You just did it to Eli. I don't think it's intentional.
Oh, okay. Okay. So I was trying to tell you that NASA video that Jaron discovered, they didn't take it down. They just somehow edited it.
Right.
Just like they did here with this video because I already watched it and it was halfway through, like 3/4 of the way through. When I pulled it up, so that's how I know I was watching it already.
Can I just add to that before we move on? This was the link from, it's the same site, Fish News, again purporting to be the thing, but if you look at the date on this one, it's the 9th of June. This was clearly mismatched, look. But again, it purports to be it, especially at the beginning. But look, this is published the day before.
Gotcha. So we've got the exact same video. Perfect. I'm glad that made it onto the stream. That's showing the day before with the exact same video. Obviously, it's not the June 10th eclipse because it was published prior to June 10th. Now there's another one that seems to be making out that the same video, obviously not the June 10th eclipse, is actually the eclipse after they've released it from the live stream, even though it was released the day before. So there's obviously some screwing going on.
Okay.
And if I wouldn't have pointed any of this out, we wouldn't even know what was going on.
Jesus.
Yes, indeed.
Okay.
Go ahead, Eli.
Eli, going now. So, there's someone in 24/7. We were all watching the eclipse that morning, and there's someone who actually got it on video. I just have to track that person down and see if he's done whatever he has to do. He actually did it with like I think a P900.
Totality.
Ring of Fire?
Hold on.
Where
Hold
at?
on. God, hold on. So he got the totality, or did he just get the eclipse? Because
That 4 minutes, right?
the totality.
Which was the because I if it's the 4 minute part section of the whole thing, yes, he did.
Not right. Can I? Where is
But
he
I don't
located?
remember. I don't. In California,
Then
but I
no.
don't remember.
So he won't see it.
Then he won't see it.
The ball
Eli.
claim won't even make the claim that he would see it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm going to get
Why is
Harp
that?
to do it one more time because it's him that's brought this to our attention. So can you, again, Harp, please, if you would, explain precisely what you're asking to be produced? Because it's still not clear, clearly.
Okay, so we know that there's a claim out there. There was supposed to be a Ring of Fire eclipse on June 10th. There is no proof it never happened. There should be a 4.5 minute video from an airplane, at least one that said they were up there seeing it for 4.5 minutes. They watched for 30 minutes, saw the totality, 4.5 minutes, but yet there's no video. Only 2 still pictures, and I don't believe they are what they say they are.
If I may, Nathan, I think what he's saying is that they always claim that they have these things precisely to the dot when they're happening. And I think he's pointing out that they were wrong on this one. I think, right, Harp?
No, the claim.
Yes, that's correct. We know that. We have established that a while back. Then.
Yeah, no, but it's worth reiterating it. Thank you very much, Silent Zero. No, it's worth explaining it over and over again. Go ahead, Adam.
Yeah, as far as I understand, the claim is, and it has been seen as a partial. It was on CNN. People are eclipse watching, and people will have filmed it. There's no argument there. That happens. That's verified as their model would dictate. But also, because of the nature of their model, they also make a claim that in certain parts you will see a ring of fire, and none of that from areas Canada, North, Siberia, all of those northern areas. It's supposedly that the eclipse will form a ring of fire from that viewpoint in their model, and that's what is the proof that is missing. Is what I'm looking for.
Not proof of a sphere.
Back to that shadow, if
Sorry,
we're
go
all
ahead,
done.
So I just want to say, what if someone does produce that?
Doesn't prove we're on a sphere. You have to affirm the consequent, which is to say, if the Earth is a sphere, we will observe this solar eclipse thus. We observe this solar eclipse thus, therefore Earth's a sphere. So you have to affirm the consequent. You also have to beg the question in the opening statement of you're affirming the consequent with if Earth's a sphere. That's a begging the question fallacy. So it's a begging the question, affirming the consequent, formal logical fallacy. even if they show us the Q statement, which is to say that they've got the demonstration of the eclipse as predicted in their heliocentric begs the question model.
I've got a
Yeah, I
question for Hart.
understand that. I understand that, but what if, I mean, what if somebody does produce it and people on the other side of their supposed globe are seeing it one way, and yet in the north they're seeing this ring of fire? What else would it be?
Can I just ask Harp and probably 10th a quick question in regards to this? Now, we've talked about this is predicted on their model, and as a consequence, in these northern areas, we should see a ring of fire. With regards to the almanac, what does it say? Because it will predict it, but what does it say we will see? Because is this additional ring of fire a consequence of the angles of the ball model, or is it also predicted by the almanac that it should be seen? Because that would seem a good place to start.
Definitely.
Check and compare.
Reiterate that in a more simplistic way. Say it again, please, Adam. Good point.
Well, all of this stuff comes from the almanac. What they appear to be doing is claiming that the consequential ring of fire is a effect of their ball model. And I'm wondering whether the almanac, which is what is historically guaranteed to tell you what type of eclipse you're going to get, whether it just states we get the eclipse, the partial eclipse that was witnessed on TV, or whether it predicts the ring of fire as well.
And the bit about the consequences of the angles necessitated by. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Is it that we've got this predicted eclipse and it's predicted to be partial like it is, but if you model it out and in their model, the way in which the eclipse occurs has a secondary consequence that actually you'll get that ring of fire created in the northern latitudes. Is that why we're not seeing it? Because it's a consequence of the model, not of what's actually going to happen in reality.
Yeah, I'd be intrigued to know the answer to that question, because my understanding would be that it would always tally. In other words, the almanac would always tally with the heliocentric model. So it's definitely the right place to start, as you put it.
Well, the only thing I could say is I'm thinking about their argument for the sticks and shadows, because they obviously believe that the shadow is caused by Earth curvature. So we know there's a phenomenon going on here, and they're saying it's happening over a curved surface, and they model it that way. And we're saying, no, the surface is not curved because you got no R. And so it's just a phenomenon that happens from an angular point of view. So that's the only thing I could say at this point. I don't know what Harp has to say.
I can make it more simple, Nathan. I'd say I'd go to the almanac, and if the almanac says you're going to see a ring of fire, I'd stop worrying about it.
Yeah, I would agree. If it's the case that it's just as I always expect it to tally with the previous predictions based on the cycles, which are very, I don't know the better word, but predictable. So therefore they'd tally, they'd match up. It makes sense, they'd engineer it in. That's the whole premise of the heliocentric model, and why, in my opinion, it works quite well. If that is the case, as Adam just suggested, it might be just tallying up with what the almanac predicted. I also would give it any concern. I'll just say, well, it was just too cloudy to catch then. Just by coincidence, nobody could see it. Now, in other words, I wouldn't be too worried about it. If, on the other hand, it doesn't tally, and it is just a consequence of the angles required on a heliocentric model, it's not necessarily matching up, it's just purely there, as it might stick out like a sore thumb, but we'll just hope no one notices, then it's definitely worth pursuing.
If we're done with this, Nathan, I got slides of Master B concerning, and I'd like Adam to keep this up, this shadow over.
Yeah, this might not go away until it goes away, till we get the Q statement confirmed. But unless Harp, I keep calling you Harp. No, it was Harp. Unless Harp wants to add anything, because it's his point to the end of it, we can move on. But I'll just ask him first. Did you want to add anything in conclusion?
I'm just trying to find how to look into the almanac right now and see if it was predicted.
You're on it like flies on the proverbial. No worries, brilliant. Okay, yes, we can move on 10th, and we will come back to this subject again.
Did you want this leaving up 10th, did you say?
Yes, please leave it up. So,
What
Master B,
did you want me to do? Slides for what?
It's a masterpiece. Start the one on top with the celestial horizon with the airplane and the surface and the central angle.
Done. It's on.
Okay. On my cue, you can move the slide. So here we got what they want to tell us is happening. So those lines coming in are parallel sunlight rays, according to them. And in the circle, you can have a central angle, as you can see there at the midsection of the Earth. At the surface, you will have a corresponding angle. And on an airplane using a sextant, it will, which they use a bubble sextant because they got to keep it level up there. It will have the same corresponding angle. Now go to the next slide, and we see how the sun rays actually come in. So right here, I just want to say the sunlight destroys the globe model because the globe model could only work with parallel sunlight coming in.
I want
The
to see
globe
this
model
picture.
cannot work with divergent rays. And you can't get me anything showing parallel rays when all of the evidence shows a divergent ray. Go to the next slide, please. So what they do is they take you to the center of a presupposed Earth and say you're measuring the angle from the center of a sphere, actually a circle, not a sphere, because it's two-dimensional, right? And you're doing it to the center of the sun. So from the center, on the central angle, you can get a 90 degree as depicted here in the sketch. Next slide. What is the next slide? Mine's, okay, I see. Is it showing or is it blank? It looks like it's dark.
The next one I've got is angle measured, atmosphere.
Yeah, okay, perfect. It's showing now. All right, so now you see in the sextant on, of course, they got this over a sphere, but let's just say you're using a sextant. You have to have a baseline horizon and the angle to the star or sun, and that's how you get an angle. You can't do it on the curved surface. So the only way they fool you is to say, well, we're actually doing it from the center of this circle. Well, no one's doing the measurement from the center of the circle. But even if they beg the question that that's how they're doing it, the sunlight must come in parallel to have the corresponding angles. But the sunlight destroys them because the sunlight comes in divergent rays and won't allow for the corresponding angle. Next slide. So here's a one that shows their model in full action with the Cyan and Alexandria, Eratosthenes, and they got the sun rays coming in at parallel. And so they go to the central angle, get 22 degrees. And they're saying, well, on the surface, it's the same corresponding angle, 22 degrees. But see the tangent line? Because you can't get an angle without a straight line, a baseline or 90 degree. And so this is such wizardry, but we're going to break it right now. Next slide. What do we see here? How the sunlight actually comes in. So the globe model is dead based on how the sun works over this flat plane. Next slide. A sextant is a glorified protractor. You need a vertex, you need a corner, you need two lines to meet to create an angle. It is impossible to create an angle without two straight lines. So you can't do it from a surface of a globe ever. Next slide. So I made this slide. You can see their presupposed globe. There's a guy on the boat, assume that, and he uses the sextant, a glorified protractor, to measure the angle to the sun here. That's how it works. You need that baseline being straight. If the sunlight was coming in parallel, where would that sun zenith position be? Where would the geographical position be of that sun? Well, it doesn't work that way because sunlight doesn't come in parallel. And so this is the angle you get from the surface of a flat plane because you need a baseline to create a vertex. Next one. The tangent plane, is that the one you got?
Yes.
Okay, so you can see here the sunlight coming in. They assume they're locally flat, flat Earth there, get their angle because that's exactly how they measure it. And then they make that extra attempt to take you to the center of the Earth and say, see, here's the corresponding angle. So this is how it works on a sphere. And the next slide. And this is how it works. If the light doesn't come in straight, there is no corresponding angle to the center of a two-dimensional circle, which is not their sphere. It's ball game over for them. The sun destroys them, the protractor destroys them, the sextant destroys them, and angles need two straight lines to form a corner. That destroys them.
Good stuff. Thank you very much, 10th Man. Hello, Quantum Eraser.
I didn't see any of that.
Yeah, I was presenting it for the recording to the audience and not to you.
Oh, I'm watching Adam's screen.
Yeah. Thank you anyway.
Thank
Good to have you, QE.
Well, QE, while you're here, thanks, Elijah. Hey, look at this umbra penumbra on the shadow here that they depict here on the solar eclipse.
Oh, on Adam's screen?
Yeah. Look how wide that cast shadow is.
There is no penumbra.
I know.
It's something they conjured.
Indeed.
Hey, before you close out, right? Don't drop. Don't forget either. Don't drop. I need to talk to you guys.
Well, thank you.
Sleeping Warrior here?
Yes.
Yeah. I was just about to drop, though.
Don't drop.
Quick question for you, QA. Where on this diagram are parallel lines?
There is no parallel line.
Oh, right answer. But you can think of them as parallel.
Yeah, we already went over this a bunch of times, right? They're all converged.
Just catching up what we were nattering with regards to the June the 10th.
I just woke up too, so keep questions.
Okay, with that, I'm going to say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to both Discord and G+ panels for making today's after show possible. And of course, a massive thank you to all of you in either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Programming streams, hopefully smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, and all that good stuff. Also, below this video, you can get £50 for swapping your UK electricity supplier to Octopus Energy. Another massive shout out of thanks and appreciation to JQ for his massive amount of support that I recently got. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
What a lovely day!